The race to the finish line begins with the journey to the start line. Hey, I'm Dylan Johnson. We're here at the Sea Otter Classic. It's the first race of the Life Time Grand Prix. So usually the last race for me will be Big Sugar, and then after that I take a little bit of time off the bike. I think that's actually really important. And then you sort of ramp back up the volume and intensity for about 2 months, and then you're kind of into your base season. Yeah, my habits in the off season don't differ too much from the race season. Obviously, in the race season, things are a little bit more locked in, and you've got to kind of eke that extra 1% out of your body, so you're a little bit more focused on, diet and sleep and training and all of that. But to be honest, I don't really let any of that go in the off season. It's not like the off season comes around and I, start eating a bunch of junk food that I didn't allow myself to eat mid-season. Like I keep it pretty clean all year, and I would say I stay pretty focused all year. So this is probably going to be a 4.5-hour race, and the feed zone is at the start-finish of the lap, and there's 3 laps. So I'm kind of trying to figure out where I'm going to have these bottles handed, how many bottles I want handed to me, how many I want to start with. Yeah, my race prep can change a little bit depending on the race. Obviously, in the Life Time Grand Prix, there's a lot of different races with different demands. I mean, everything from Unbound, which is 200 miles, to Schwamigan, which is, a 2-hour XC mountain bike style race with, with a lot of punchy efforts. So the training can actually vary quite a bit over the course of the season. For Unbound, I usually do a massive volume block because it is a high volume race, and having really good durability towards the end of the race is super important. And then for other races, I mean, just for example, Schwamigan, which is the shortest race of the series, there'll be a lot more punchy efforts, lower overall volume, so you can get more quality sessions in, and, typical 30-30 intervals and sprint intervals, and making sure you have that snap in your legs. So last year, 2 weeks out from Unbound, I was hit by a truck, and that was, obviously devastating for me physically. I fractured my tibial plateau and was unable to do the race and was unable to train for about 2 months. For about a month, I was just laid up on the couch, and about a month after that, I was able to sort of start training again, but I wouldn't really call it training. It was more so just getting motion back in my legs. So after the accident, when I was riding on the indoor trainer, I was able to keep the power steady and low. I had to keep the power quite low for a while, so obviously going up any kind of hill outside was sort of a no-no. So just keeping it at a low, steady power output was super important. Obviously, with what I had just been through with the accident, being in a safe environment was mentally reassuring for me. And so in that aspect, I found it really helpful. In getting back into shape for Unbound, obviously there was time on the trainer, and ROUVY helped with that. ROUVY's a way to entertain yourself while you're riding on the trainer, and maybe people wouldn't expect this of me necessarily, but I do think that the mental aspect of training is really important. And if anything, I would say the last year has taught me that the mental aspect can be much more important than I originally realized.
Lifetime Sea Otter Classic 2026, here we go, folks! Let's hear it for your elite men's racing
Yeah, Sea Otter is an interesting one for me. It tends to be a mixed bag for me. Obviously, when the Grand Prix started, it was a mountain bike race, and now the Grand Prix race is a gravel race. And I come from mountain biking, and I actually liked when it was a mountain bike race. But you know, it's a course that has a lot of 5-minute punchy climbs, and you know, some of those don't necessarily suit me. So I've had some okay results here, and then I've actually had some bad days here. So again, kind of a mixed bag. I don't really know what to expect this weekend, and I'm not putting a ton of pressure on myself. I think, if I'm being honest, I would actually prefer if the first race of the season was a course that suited me a little bit better, but obviously I can't change that, so I'm just gonna do the best that I can. All right, so we're at the finish line of Sea Otter right now. To be honest, I don't know where I finished. I gotta check the results sheet. Yeah, preparation was good. Leading into this race, I knew that the start was critical because I've never made the front group at Sea Otter. I've been extremely close, and it's kind of like this 2-minute climb right here is critical for making that front group. So I actually did 2-minute intervals, which I never do. I mean, I couldn't even tell you what my 2-minute max power is. That's how foreign that effort is to me. But I like really focused on improving that, and actually I had the best Sea Otter start that I've ever had. Like, I think at the top of the hill, I might have been in the top 10. So how I plan to use ROUVY moving forward here with my preparation for Unbound, because we're at the beginning of the season here at Sea Otter, and Unbound is the next race after this, is probably with heat training. Heat training is a huge part of performing well as a cyclist in the year 2026. It seems like everybody's talking about heat training now, but I would say it's particularly important for Unbound because Unbound is a hot race. So it just makes it that much more important. Heat training is not always the easiest thing if you don't live in a super hot area, and riding on the trainer is a super effective way to do heat training. Again, using ROUVY, it just makes the heat training session go by faster, which, if you've ever tried heat training, is a pretty important thing, because those sessions where you're sweating profusely every minute seems to go by really slowly when you've got nothing to focus on.
No, I wouldn't say people if they had it.
I like this gold pen you got here. That's pretty sick.
Can you sign mine too?
Yeah, absolutely. How about you? You racing?
Yeah, I'm gonna race Fuego at Sea. You saw my race book, please?
Yeah, for sure. All right, so that's a wrap on Sea Otter. I'm gonna be going home, trying to recover from this race, and doing a big old block for Unbound. During that block, I plan on doing some heat training, and I'll be doing that heat training inside with ROUVY. There's a lot that has to happen just to get to the start line, and ROUVY helped get me there.